Hello and welcome into SorareAndrews, brought to you by Sorare Data. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined as always by Andy Black, Black on Sorare. Today to talk about something, maybe, but actually, Andy and I were just talking about something else, and he was like, wait, we should just talk about this on stream. So Andy, let's get right into it. I already forgot what we were talking about.
Stacks. You said that you were gonna I guess, buy only stacks from now on and only play the stacks.
So for those listening and we're watching and then we're not privy to our conversation 1 minute ago off stream, I had a conversation with Nep, who I hate, who showed me this gallery of a guy who just plays stacks. Actually, I have no idea if it's a guy, somebody who plays stacks. And this week they had a Zagreb stack because they were lucky enough to just refresh the game page over and over and over again before the deadline. And I think they have a Bruges stack. And I was like, maybe I should just do that for Europe, because I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to Europe. And I have this Midtjylland stack, and I was like, all right, I can play my Midtjylland stack, and maybe I'll go get what was the other example I used? Whatever it was. I'll go get a Bayern Munich stack, but basically I will just play stacks. I'm not gonna even worry about it. I'll just get good teams, play stacks. And you were like, yeah, let me say this on the stream. And so I turned the stream on. So what were you gonna say?
It just doesn't work. unless you're, and I say that from two senses. Winning, it's really hard. It's not really, I won't say it's really hard, but you just need that game where your team slaps and wins 5-0 or whatever, which it happens, run the St. Louis City stack, badges on the side. It does work, but you have to be patient, and it's going to not work a lot. And then just getting the 5 guys that are actually going to play in the lineup is hard. And you're going to need to own more than 5 guys.
Sure.
On that stack, you're going to need probably 8 to 10, depending. A good example, West Ham last year, they ran completely different teams in the midweek versus the weekend. So if you want to, you're going to be tempted because there's going to be bleed over in the lineups. You're going to be tempted to run the teams in both, so you're going to need 12 guys.
I'm okay with that, actually. I've got plenty of excess already without this stacking strategy.
Then, get out the wallet and Santos Laguna stacks. Let's go.
So, I had an Atlas stack, and then Quinones left, leaving a gaping hole in my stack, no less.
You can buy Mudo.
I could. So, I actually, how about this, Andy? Do you think I would care even more if I did this stack process, because I would be so invested financially and emotionally in a single team?
Oh, so you're trying to go on topic.
I was trying to. I don't know if it really hit though. But no,
sure. Yeah. Yes.
So Pico player here. Stacks aren't efficient, meaning full 5 stack. That I'm going to both agree with and disagree with. They're probably quite efficient because I know everyone will, I'll get everybody who plays. But I was thinking I think the better stacking technique is either, as weird as this sounds, because they sound like they're the same, but they're not, 2-3 or 3-2, meaning goalie, defender from one team, and then mid, forward, and extra from another. So I just need a clean sheet, and then the other team to bang 5-0. I don't need both things to happen at the same time. The defender and the goalie and defender can win 1-0, and then the attackers could win 6-3, and I'm on top.
Stacks don't work 90% of the time, but the 10% of the time they do hit hard. They hit hard.
So Germ is New York City FC stack from last night. They absolutely pasted Toronto 5-0.
Yep.
The counter to that, Philadelphia. What was the final score? That 5-1, 4-1.
Yeah, but I don't have a full Philly stack. I have Andre Blake and Glesnes and Kai Wagner, and they let me down.
The wrong part of the stack last
Right.
night.
Yeah, like pick your poison there, I guess. You have to, in the end, you have to choose something. And
Sure.
if I would have ran the full stack, it wouldn't have worked. If I just picked Blake and Glesnes, it wouldn't have worked. But if I would have chose Carranza and Gazdak, it would have worked.
Right. And if you had picked Barraza and anyone, it wouldn't have worked last night thanks to Matt Freeze.
In the end, the nice thing with stacks, when you do have a matchup like NYC against Toronto or Philly against Querétaro, I'm not even going to try. Yes. You have high confidence that they're going to smash, whether they do or not, whatever. But you can definitely prioritize those lineups and put them in spots that, that are juicy.
So I want to push back a little bit on the you need them to slap in order to win, because like you always need your players to slap to win.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily think you need to go in with like a 5-player stack and be like, I'm only playing this for first place. Like
what I'm saying differently though, for a stack, you need the matchup to slap. So you need 2-3-0 for one player to have a 100-point game. They don't need a 3-0 game. They can score a goal and churn 30 AA.
Yeah. Shout out to Chani saying I might be on the wrong mic, which I might be. I'm hoping it sounds better now, though, if anybody out there can confirm. But so why wouldn't I'll just have like 5 stacks, and I'll just pick the best ones.
I want to see it.
You want to see what stacks I'm building, or what I should do, or just you want to see it work?
I want to see you complete all of the stacks and then run them every week.
You're like calling me out on it. It's like a bet you won't. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, you won't stack.
Right.
I don't know who are you looking at?
So I was looking at basically using it on cards that I already have, meaning like I don't want to have to buy a brand new team. So
sure.
Like I should just. So I was actually going to talk about this a little bit on Off Topic tomorrow, but I might as well just do it now. So like I have Tadic, who I had at Ajax, and I was never really going to build an Ajax stack, but he's at Fenerbahce now. And I'm like, why don't I just do a Fenerbahce stack? Because I have Tadic. And I started putting offers out on like other players from the team. And I've been doing some other exercises of figuring out what to do with my gallery that have actually stopped me from buying these players for now. But it was just like, I don't know. It's hard enough choosing the teams. Ultimately, you end up wanting to choose the teams that are really good. Those are expensive. And I don't know. I have no idea what to do.
Do you think if you built a Fenerbahce stack, would you build like a rare stack, or what?
So that was the other issue, is that I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
Not dumb. It's dumb for me.
It's probably dumb to manage and just a rare division versus a rare pro for you.
Yeah. And the teams I'm choosing, like buying Fenerbahce super rares is not cheap. So I'm actually like giving up a lot of cards that I have in order to like condense down. And I'm just not sure. I don't know if it makes sense or not. I don't know.
Someone was asking if I think it was Blue Tomatoes was asking if we're off topic already. We made like 0 attempt today at being on topic, apparently.
Not 0. I tried to talk about whether we cared more because you have stacks.
Small attempt.
But the answer is yes. Yeah, we did. But you came up with this topic, and I wasn't even sure what you wanted to talk about. You were like, why do we care so much? I'm like, that's a great topic. I don't know what it's about, but I'm in.
Yeah. So it's more of just like mental gymnastics of whenever anything comes out, everything is like highly, highly scrutinized, and all of the details of the announcement are picked apart. People even like have the discussions about, well, like, because you and HD were talking about, well, I don't know if I like the announcement of the announcement, and it's just like, why do we even care about the announcement of the Like, we're not even scrutinizing the announcement anymore. We're scrutinizing the fact that they announced an announcement. And I get like because I do the same thing everybody else does. Whenever something comes out, we were in Washington D.C. I was there with on the trip with you guys, and they announced the fitness thing, and I'm like, we were walking around, and I was like looking at my phone. And I'm like, hold up, I gotta read this. and like I'm trying to I'm going through it in my head as we're walking, instead of like looking at the Washington Monument. I'm like, so how will fitness interact with all these other things? And it's just it's interesting, and it almost reminds me of like if you've ever done like a Kickstarter where like they're building the thing or building the project as you go, because Sorare's an incomplete game at this point, and they're still designing it, I guess, and building it. And it's just really interesting to see how the community interacts with the company that's still building the game. I don't know. I thought it was something interesting to talk about.
I do think that the community has higher expectations based on how much money Sorare raised. Like as soon as they raised all that money
people have on platform.
That too. But I just mean like they raised the money and now everyone's like, okay, you're a legitimate corporation now. You should be telling us everything that you need to tell us in the perfect way, as if like no other companies ever make. It's not even a mistake, but I don't know.
I think they weirdly I don't want to say over communicate, but they weirdly are very open about a lot of the things that they do. I think there's a world there they could just like really close up their communications and just be like, oh, yep, this new thing is coming out. They don't take any customer feedback at all. And I'm not saying they should by any means. I'm saying that there's a world that exists, and there's other products that do similar things.
What are they actually open about?
Like the design of the game, and that they're like building these things, and a fiat wallet is coming, and like the hype that they're generating around that. They don't have to tell us that they're building that. We don't technically have to know that. I'm glad we do, and I'm glad they're open about that. But
so you actually like the announcements of the announcements?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And do you think it's a problem that they raise more questions than answers?
Well, I am like on board with you guys a little bit there. Like they should try to like have answers to those questions, and they should anticipate what questions users will have from those announcements, and have like a FAQ or something with answers built out for stuff like that. Like announcing fitness without having details around how fitness actually works, just I think scared a lot of people, freaked a lot of people out. But I think it would be pretty simple to just provide percentages, and like when a player plays, when a player doesn't play, what percentages do they recover? And my worry is that it's just not done yet, and they haven't built it yet, and they don't technically know how it's going to work. And if they don't know how it's going to work, they probably shouldn't talk about it.
So I think that's that's the only outcome I came to.
What's that?
That they don't know, like they haven't finished it yet. They don't know what the fitness is, and so that's why they're not telling us.
When Dan was on the stream with you guys, he all but said it, that it just wasn't done yet. Like he didn't come right out and say it, but he pretty much said, I read between the lines that it's not done yet.
And so,
which is fine, but like
no, it's not fine. It would be fine if
but they shouldn't have announced it.
Well, exactly. Like that's why it's not fine. Like I think it would be fine if they were like, hey, we're going to do this. Like we're going to do some sort of fitness. I think you called it a fatigue thing. I think calling it fitness is really bad. I was on the team whole like NBA bit this morning that Mike Zakarian does. And I was trying to be like, we were talking about NBA. And I was like, the point was like, this is what's going on in football. They're going to do this in NBA. And he was like, wait, so like your cards get tired? And I was like, yes, that is exactly what it is. Like your digital cards are getting tired. But
no, they're not getting tired. They're getting strong. It's a bonus.
No, they're losing weakness and then they're getting strong. Yeah. But anyway, I think it would have been better delivered as we are going to do this. How would you like to see it? As opposed to we are going to do this. We'll tell you later how it works.
But we don't know how it works quite yet.
Right. Even give us some option. Hey, this is what we're thinking. Like it feels like they're asking for feedback without actually asking for feedback. And I think people just want to hear that they are being asked, because now I think I said this with Maxime. It's like every half announcement that we get, everybody starts to speculate what it's going to look like. And I feel like never once has the community been right about like what it ends up being, but we always end up with the absolute worst case scenario. And someone is like, I'm leaving. Like I'm selling up. No, I'm not playing that game, even though there's no confirmation from Sorare. Like that's how it works. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with fitness now.
Well, the same thing happened with the fiat wallet. Like our last stream with Jimmer, we were talking about like, so how does it work? How does the fiat wallet work?
We have no idea.
And we all have like in our own mind how we think it's going to work. And I probably have an idea in my head how I think fatigue or fitness is going to work. And you have something in your brain. Like a long time ago, like one of my favorite things about this fitness update, we've talked like fatigue or fitness has been something that has been like discussed for a long time, I feel like. But we always talked about fatigue as a negative bonus on the cards. And I feel like it's kind of funny that it's being like it went into the spin room and oh no, it's a bonus. It's a bonus.
Somebody mentioned, I think it was during the stream in the chat, the idea that instead of starting at 10% and losing fitness, you start at 1 and you can like gain it by not using it. So it's not such a big like starting point. And the reason, like the more I thought that was a good idea. Like starting at 10 and coming down just feels like it's a huge increase. Like it really affects the game. But then the more I thought of it, it's like you don't, like you start fully fit usually. And then as you play, you get less fitness. And so it's like, the real life concept of fitness actually made sense to me. But then I'm like, but we're playing a fucking digital card game. Like it doesn't matter if it makes sense in real life. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, there was something else they did a long time ago that it was the loyalty bonus. And it was like, do you remember that?
No.
So they did loyalty bonus. And if your player was still on the same team as the jersey that they were wearing, your player got a 5% loyalty bonus because they're loyal to the club. They're loyal to and it was like, that was kind of another one of those things. It was a cool feature and like, you know, in a way I kind of like it. They did away with that though. And I think they replaced it with the yearly bonus, the 5% first year bonus or whatever. But that's almost another one of those where the 5% was for I don't know, something that was like in real life, but I don't know.
I think the only negative with that, excuse me, is that it's like totally out of your hands. Like a player transferring, you have nothing to do with that. Not that
Yeah.
like you buying a card means they are going to score more goals, but like, I don't know. It just seems like it's a unnecessary punishment.
Hey,
But
real quick, I have something work that popped up. I have to step away for like 2 seconds. So you're going off topic with Laird by yourself here for like 2 minutes.
sure. Yeah. You want me to take you off screen?
I will.
Oh, you will. Oh, excuse me. Oh, he's just going dark. Ooh, I like that. I do. Where was Techers had a comment here? Do cards of older players get tired faster? Like, probably not, but maybe. We don't know. I just see. AJ said, would purposely doing an announcement of an announcement to gain insight and/or ideas for the community and take those to finish the item announced. Like, I think it's okay. He was saying, would that be a valid or a valid tactic? Like, I think it's okay to do that. Like, I think the community would prefer that of, hey, we have this idea. We're going to do it. Like, you don't even need to ask us if we think it's a good idea. Like, we're going to do this thing. How would you like it to work? Is different than we're going to do this thing. Do you like it? Like, nobody wants that. But I feel like how would you like it to work makes us feel like we're actually involved in the game. And you can find out what like people want to do. I just feel like there's still like this disconnect between the game designers and the users that can easily be remedied, and it's not there.
Are you saying they need to do a survey?
I don't think it's a survey, but like I think didn't they used to have like a focus group basically? Or who are the Discord, whatever they're called, coaches or whatever. Like, I don't know. It just feels like they don't always know like what we think of the game.
Yeah.
And
I do think at some point they need to be kind of done with the game design. Like if they wanted to do tweaks to either scoring matrix, which I realize there's implications with that and whatever. But at some point they need to be kind of done with the product. Yeah, enhancements are great, but the product needs to kind of be more solidified, I feel like.
yeah. Maybe there's just not enough content out there of people telling them what they should do. I don't even mean that jokingly. Like, I feel like that lots of people like react to things, but there's no like, hey, here's an idea, and they can just run with that.
Yeah. I don't know that that's good though. Like I almost get the sense that that we're building just to build in some aspects. When maybe we should be focusing on other things, like just because you can build more features on top of the product doesn't mean you should. Maybe efforts should go all in on this mobile thing that you're doing, the kickoff, which is another thing that we should probably laugh about at some point. But why call it kickoff? Why?
So
there's a lot of words in the dictionary, and you chose kickoff,
right? Which they already have. Like
exactly.
We have a kickoff, and it's not even that good of a name. And now you have something else. The naming stuff is always a funny one with me. But do you think it's getting too gamified?
Not really. But we're drifting down that I'm gonna call it the Sorare Mega way. And I definitely don't want to do that. I don't want to be there. They have to be real careful going too far that way, because in the end, what has worked? Fantasy soccer has worked, and just flat out, my player performs on the field. He does well. I score well. Awesome.
So it has worked, but we're also nowhere near like 1 million users, which is what we all talk about.
I thought that was what the fiat wallet was for.
Oh, is that where the next 700,000 come from or whatever?
I mean, my opinion is the game is highly addictive, highly fun. It is like the perfect fantasy game as far as I'm concerned. You have to get it in front of more people and you have to make it more accessible. But I've played a lot of different fantasy games and it's most certainly the funnest fantasy game I've played. And, I think ease of onboarding and getting it in front of people is the two things that they need to do, not turn it into a video game.
So I think, not that I think you're wrong, I think they disagree with you.
Yeah.
And it's mostly something that I've been like thinking about literally since we talked to Dan on, when was that, Tuesday? 2 days? Long time since Tuesday. But I keep going back to the fact that the goal of Sorare was never to be like the biggest fantasy sports platform in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was to be like this global sports entertainment.
I thought they wanted to be the biggest brand, right?
Sure. Hey, sure. So I don't think so. While fantasy sports has been like the core of what they've done with a sprinkle of forced collection,
mm-hmm.
I don't think that was the goal. Like, I don't think creating another, like, did I say that this morning? I think I said this morning. So like the goal is to be this global brand, sports entertainment conglomerate. And they've also been like, we're going to revolutionize fantasy sports. And I think maybe we saw the revolution of fantasy sports as the final step. And they think it's like the first step towards being this global brand. And that they don't actually want to they will revolutionize fantasy sports on the way to creating this game that we all like to play that is based on fantasy, but is not true fantasy sports. It's basically not real life Football Manager, but like closer to Football Manager. You build your club, you do all this the wacky shit that you need to do with your teams. But fundamentally, it's not a computer simulation. It is based on what actually happens on the field.
Would you play a simulation version of Sorare?
No.
I think a lot of people would.
I think they probably would. You're right. I mean, you guys basically did with those replay weeks. I mean, it's not simulation, but like, I guess it's not. That's actually
kind of is. It's using like past data to, whatever.
Yeah, like. So, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat because I've been ignoring.
Yeah, we've ignored chat for a while. We should probably,
Hold on. Let's see. John, they've taken it too far away from how my guy does on the field. Gil shouldn't score more because someone bought some cheap, irrelevant New England subs or had the ability to rest them for 2 weeks. Why not?
It doesn't matter. He only scored. They scored 5 goals and he only had like 50 points. So
he sucks, by the way.
Yeah, he's awful.
My God. Anyway, so though that is something that I've complained about, that like you will have people who score less in real life score more in the game because of all these added bonuses and whatnot. But if that turns out to be the game that we're going to play, which it looks like it is because we already have the collection bonus. They've announced fitness. They've announced that it's going to be 10% to start. Like, I think it's this game. And we've said this for like years. I feel like every time we're like, oh, well, who knows what like Sorare is going to look like in 5 years. Like, we're starting to figure out what it's going to look like. And it feels like it's going to be much more game than fantasy sport. And I understand if people are like, I don't want to do that. Like, I totally get that. But I also think there are a lot more people who want to play a game than be a fantasy sports nerd, of which I am proudly one.
Yeah, I think like the one like saving grace right now, we're only edging into that territory. We're not like full stop like in that world. So I'm still like pretty happy with the product, but they go too far again. So they go full Sorare Mega on us. Ugh.
So for anyone who stuck around with Sorare Mega, because I stopped playing, like, did it make that big of a difference? And so
I don't care because it felt like it did, and I
right.
wasn't gonna go through and do all of the work.
Could you buy that stuff, or did you win it? How did you get
You
it?
won the coins, and you could use the coins to buy the things.
Yeah, so exactly the same thing that we're about to do on Sorare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I keep hearing about the energy drinks or whatever you can give your players to boost up their fitness for the games. There, I don't think that it's going to be like straight pay to win. I give Kimmich 12 energy drinks and now he's back up to 10%. There has to be like some sort of cooldown on that stuff, I would
Maybe.
think, where I can only give him one energy drink a week, and take his 3% to a 4%. But at some point, I'm going to have to rest him. I like the idea of resting. Like if you rest them and they have a game, they automatically recover everything. If you rest them and they don't have a game, they might recover a little bit less or something.
Right.
But I think that those are like the types of things. Obviously, I like that because I have got the type of gallery where I run all these like crappy stacks. And like my Santos Laguna guys, when they're playing Monterey, Tigres, there's gonna be plenty of time for me to rest
Yeah.
my guys. But for people that are running like the elite stacks, they're going to be the people that have a harder time with this. Where when are you going to rest? When are you going to rest Tadic? When are you going to rest Kimmich? You're not going to want to ever rest them.
I don't know if anybody from Sorare listens to this or watches this, but I do think that's a great idea, that like you should recover faster if you sit them for an actual game, like a game week where they have a game as opposed to the middle. So if anybody's taking notes, I think you should write that one down. Surface, I put it up on the, here we go. Asking why do I think there are more people that quote want to play a game? Who are these people? Like they're the 10x, 100x users that play like FIFA and Football Man. Like there's so many more people who play those games than play Sorare. And I think part of it, not all of it, but I think part of it is that they like fantasy sports just isn't that big of a thing worldwide. And so if you gamify it, people are like, oh, I understand games. Then I can make this stadium. That's cool. Yeah. And I think it's a completely different user than what's on the platform right now. And so, but like, that's who we need. Like you're obviously going to get the fantasy nerds to start, and then you just build out from there.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Really?
Well, I don't see like the gaming world having the capital right now to play this game. Like Jimmer was joking about 13-year-old kids getting their parents' credit cards. I don't know that that's the target. It shouldn't be.
Sure. But there are plenty of 25-year-olds who play those games.
Sure.
And like, you don't have to get them all. What's that?
A lot less of them, though.
Sure. But you don't need everyone. Like these games have literally millions of people.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, you don't need every one of those to play. Techers was saying more people play FPL than Football Manager, and Johanna Tim was saying FPL has 10 million users, which they absolutely do not. But those are the people, like, so that's actually a weird one, because I actually think FPL, not that it's the wrong target to group, wrong group to target, excuse me. But that's like, well, I don't want to call it like pure fantasy sport, but like that's the opposite of the gaming part that they seem to be moving towards. Like FPL is like, just like, here's a fantasy game. It has 3 stats. Go nuts. And this is very, very different than that.
Is the real strategy just to be a hybrid between the two so that you can target both markets?
Absolutely. So that's exactly where I was eventually going with this, probably on off topic, but since that's basically what this is now. So there's no way that they could have ever gotten to 1 million users with the game that exists today. Like, I don't think that there are 1 million people interested in what we do. We have a shit ton of fun with it, but like, I just don't think there's enough people who care, which is why they have to do this new kickoff, and why you have the ability to like get a physio center, or you can make a stadium and you can buy cards and like show them in your stadium. Cause like, that's something that can bring somebody into the game that like, hey, I want to buy these cards, but like, I don't need them for this stupid fantasy game that you play. I just want to put them up in my stadium because I'm a metaverse guy, and that's what I do. Like, I think they're going to end up having
his João Felix collection.
That's right. Like, I think that there are like 10 different paths that they could go, that you could like participate in Sorare without focusing on the fantasy game. And that's the only way they're going to get enough users for our cards to be worth more, because you need people to like want the cards maybe for something other than this fantasy game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't buy into the whole metaverse looking at my cards.
Me neither.
VR stuff, but I guess there are people out there that like that. I don't know.
I think that the only way that they get like a lot more users is offering more than what they offer now.
Yeah.
And so one way is this game that we play, and we just make it more of a game as opposed to a fantasy sport.
Yeah.
A fantasy sport of a sport that is the most popular in the world and one of the smallest fantasy sports.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. There's a lot of room for growth there. I think, like I said before, the big things that they need are like getting the product in front of people and ease to onboard with Fiat Wallet or whatever, but also an app that doesn't suck would be nice. And it sounds like they're hoping, like, I think this kickoff mode is part of an app redesign of some sort. Yep. And yeah, that the app needs to be good. And it's not.
Surface was asking about my obsession to 1 million users. It's not an obsession. It's kind of, haven't they always said that? Like, they want to get to 1 million users, or I mean, it's just a number.
I think it's Sorare's obsession in a way. Like, they've said that line a number of times.
Joe's saying, you don't think advertising a better app and merchandise could expand the product first? It sure can. But I think, I really just don't think that there are enough people who want to play this game as it's currently built. Like, we obviously love it.
I think the product is really good the way that it is, as far as the game design. I don't know. I said it before. I don't need to say it again, but that's my feelings on the actual game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Do you think that there becomes like a big, I don't want to call it like a market, I don't even know what, like, if they create something where people want to buy cards, but not to play SO5, how does that affect SO5?
I don't know, like a simulation game, like Football Manager.
No, I'm thinking more this metaverse bullshit where they're like, you buy a stadium and you're like, actually, I really love St. Louis SCFC City. Why don't I buy all their cards to like showcase my stadium? And now those are like cards that are like being taken out of the game. Like, do you think that they ever will, like, I have to imagine that there's a product out there.
What you just said is like the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Like, I just don't think people will do that. I don't believe in that. No.
Okay, that's fine.
There's only so many Gary V's of the world that want to buy 12 Joao Felixes and just let them sit there and do nothing.
But what if it could win you season tickets to your favorite team just by owning them and showing them in your fake stadium?
That's where I think that like a simulation or even like, I'm not saying that they should build that at all, but if they did and they had like a football manager style game, or even if it was just an app based football manager esque game, light, whatever, I think people would play that. And if you had like, if there was a mechanism where you had to buy the cards to play that game, I think people would do it. I think a lot of people that are currently on the platform that play the fantasy game would play both. And if there were ways like the rewards, obviously you'd have to do differently, but maybe you do coins or jerseys or tickets or whatever solely in the video game portion of it. But that's how I would like to see the gamification of it more, almost like a separate product, almost like a side by side product. I don't like to see it injected as much. And like, if we dabble a little bit, it's fine. I don't want to see all that stuff come into the fantasy game.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. So you brought up the coins, and that reminded me of another thing I wanted to talk about. When Alok, or I think it was Alok, said on Nellis's show that like they want to make coins more desirable to win than cards. So like,
you got a long way to go, buddy.
I actually don't think they do, because would you rather a tier 4 or tier 5 card or a fitness boost?
I don't know.
Like, I think that's where it's going.
Energy drink, okay?
Yeah. Would you like a tier 5 from Red Bull Salzburg, or would you prefer a Red Bull for your Kemet card?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I think when we heard you're going to want to win coins more than cards, we were like, okay, well, all I can get with a coin is training lineups or a level up, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, a jersey, a mystery jersey. Now it's a hat, which are absurdly expensive compared to the jerseys. And I realized the jersey prices were like set low to start, but 15,000. I saw somebody tweet that they got a hat today and they spent 15,000 of their 20,000 coins. And like, it takes a long time to get to 20,000 coins for some people. Maybe they used all their coins for something. I don't know.
I don't know why that. It's weird to me to like say it's expensive, like it's a free hat.
It's hardly free. It's all these, but anyway. But I think that I think we all thought we are gonna want coins so that we could like get stuff like that. But now that you can like use coins for this fitness boost, maybe sounds like you can.
Okay, let me go back real quick, because I probably phrased that poorly about the hat being free. When you have nothing to compare, the costs against, everything is expensive and everything is cheap.
That's fair.
But when they have more things in the shop, like if there's 100 items in there where we can really, like, there's a lot of JPEGs in there for 400 coins. Like, those should just be deleted and whatever, except for the hamburger. But like, there's no way to know. There needs to be more things in there. And I hope that we don't just get these like tweets from whoever, oh, there's going to be a drop today. Like, that's not how the shop should function. I get the hype around that, and that's great, and they should still do the drops, but there should be things in the shop that are tangible, that are always available.
I saw the notification that like the drop was coming on Sorare's website, and I like clicked on it, and it's like, they'll be available in 30 minutes. And the message said 28 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, geez, like the number of people who are just going to miss it. I think I was just surprised that that they did it so quickly that because I actually do think there are going to be points where we are like, oh, I'm going to enter this because I have a chance to win a fitness boost and I don't have to pay the $5 for the fitness boost. And I would rather have that than the tier 5 whatever card. And it's like that's the specific instance that like you would rather win coins than a card.
Right now you can't answer that question because you don't know what the energy drink costs.
Right.
Coin wise, you do know what a tier 5 rare might be worth. So like, I don't know. We need details.
So because we have no details, how much do you think the fitness boost is going to cost?
That's just that's the energy drink, the one where your player chugs it before the game and now he's boosted.
And now he's boosted, right? Oh, actually, well, yeah, answer that, and then I actually have a follow-up.
Because there's also the thing where you get like physio slots or whatever, where you can send players. Like I assume you can only send so many players to the physio per week, right?
Why do you assume that?
I thought I read it. Maybe I made that up.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Okay, so 1,000 coins. I don't know.
Germ's guessing 5,000 to 7,500.
Yeah. Okay.
And Techers is asking if we're going to have tiers of energy drinks.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. Like,
oh no, tiers, not energy drinks, not Coke and Evio.
I think that's actually a really good idea, and they should definitely have different types of drinks. Maybe not drugs, but drinks.
There's some nice inappropriate comments in the chat now. See, this is what happens when you don't give us any details. But we do know it's not whatever Sean has been saying all week. Do you play any other games with microtransactions that you have bought things? Have you microtransactioned it before?
In the past, my wife plays Candy Crush.
Sure.
And they have the whatever things that I think it's energy or something. Not for me though. Like I would rather just because I do play games, I would rather just play a good game.
How much are the microtransactions on those games? I don't even know.
Like probably $1 to $3.
Yeah. Do you think the fitness boost energy drink price is scarcity dependent?
Probably, which is stupid. It's just like the boosts that they had.
It's just like the level up boost, yeah.
Yeah, it's dumb. SoStar really wants me to talk about Sean talking about how much, so I'll just get that out of the way. When we vacation, we walk a lot because we like to see the city that we're in. My wife likes to do that. I like to do that. My kids like to do that. And I guess Sean doesn't understand that. But when we go to a new city, we like to see everything, and usually walking is the best way to see everything. There you have it.
I'm the same way. Walking the city is the best way to figure it out. I
literally saw more parts of Washington, D.C. than I care to. Like, I'll probably never go back there because A, everything's expensive as hell. My God. And B, I don't know. I just felt like we literally did everything. So there's nothing else to do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody, where was it? Here we go. AJ, and I totally agree here. Totally different topic. I want a Sorare hat with a burger on the side. I would spend 15,000 coins on that.
They should sell patches. Like you can add the patch to the hat. Yeah,
I love that. A good place says, I don't think they can make the boosts too expensive. They'll want everyone to buy them so they feel they can keep up. If they make it too expensive, too many people will ignore it, which is totally right.
Yeah, I think that if you're paying with dollars for the boosts or whatever, it's going to be like $1 to $3. Like I think that it'll be extremely it'll seem extremely affordable just to pay the money and boost your guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember training, but you felt like you had to do it. And
Yeah.
I think that people are going to feel like they have to boost their guys.
They're definitely going to feel that way. Absolutely.
Yeah. My guess is the play will be buy the physio slots so that you have those available and try to, I don't know. I'm going to try not to get involved with microtransactions because that's a I don't know, a dark hole once you start going down that path of just, oh, it's only $15 a week that I gotta actually, it's gonna end up being way more than that. That's one lineup, right? $15. Jeez. Everybody's gonna think that it costs $3 for a boost now because because that's what we said.
Yeah, right.
That's the spread of misinformation.
That's how it happens. That's exactly how it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ says, imagine a metaverse game where you can buy avatars of your favorite content creators and influencers, and they play five-a-side in a stadium.
Yeah. Sean would be a very popular goalkeeper or goaltender in that format. Yeah.
Hugo says the boost for 1% can't be more than 100 coins.
It could be.
It sure can. It sure can. There was another comment, and I've since lost it. But
yeah, I think they're definitely going to want people to quote unquote waste their coins on this stuff so that they're not constantly shipping merchandise.
Yep, for sure. My favorite was I saw multiple completely unrelated people tweet about how the hat giveaway, or not giveaway, the hat drop today, cap drop, excuse me, was a way for people to use their coins so that when they do open the fitness boost stuff, nobody has coins left and they have to buy them, which I love. I love that theory.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They better do a few more drops. That's the tactic or strategy that they're going for.
Surface said, but we're pretty sure the boosts will be able to be purchased with ETH and not just Sorare coins. Yeah, no, they said they were very clear that you could do both.
Yeah, it'll probably be ETH or credit card or so coins. Would be my guess. They're not going to restrict. They're not going to restrict you from purchasing these. I don't think.
I was wondering if actually they wouldn't allow ETH.
Oh, maybe not. Like only credit card. Yeah, I could see that.
Cash wallet. Just deposit that cash in. Let Nicholas sit on top of his pile of cash for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you need a fitness boost? Sure. Here you go. Man. What other terrible ideas can we come up with while we're here?
Are you saying that fitness or fatigue is a terrible idea?
No. It's how much it costs to do it. Yeah. I think I like it. I think I like the idea. I think it's branded really poorly though.
Yeah. So do you like the idea of it in the other sports?
I don't, because
I like the idea of product symmetry.
Yeah.
Like
I get that.
The different scarcity numbers. We've talked about it 100 times.
Yeah, I can't.
We both hate it. I would like the products to be similar across sports.
So when I was talking to Mike Zakarian this morning, and I was basically like, this is what's happened in football. I have no idea if it's coming in basketball, but who knows? So I don't know if you've looked at your Sorare NBA gallery recently.
I have not.
But they have collections, like team collections, but they don't break it off by scarcity. So like in the same collection, you can have like limiteds, rares, and super rares.
Do they have this thing where they think people are going to play like a Bulls collection or a Bulls stack?
They can't. You can't even do it.
I know, which is funny to me because it would be horrible to play a basketball stack. In like 99.9% of situations.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I was saying that the biggest difference is that you usually have a game week off with football. and that just doesn't happen in NBA and MLB.
Yeah.
Like they play every single game week, usually multiple games.
But with capped mode, you usually are running different, like totally different lineups every week. At least I was. Like my lineups were never similar at all.
Yeah.
But I suppose if you have Luka or Giannis, you're
right.
playing them every week.
Right.
Which, you know what? Those guys deserve to have to pay the tax, the energy drink tax. You know, if you're going to run Luka every week, pay the tax.
Yeah. I don't think there seems to be very little symmetry between the products.
Yeah, and I hate that.
They may as well just be completely different companies.
Yeah.
At least that's how it feels in terms of as a user of both. Like you and I both play all three sports, and I don't know, they're very few like football announcements come and we're like, oh, that's going to happen in MLB or NBA. We just have no idea. I don't know.
I do think fatigue is something that works in both sports, like, or all three sports.
Sure. Yeah. I think there's just
not saying they should, but it would work.
ZM Star said, here's what we know. Fitness Boost costs $3. They want us to spend our coins before September.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, no, Ben, we do not know it costs $3. It's $7. Joe said, speaking of that, do you know how much MLB, NBA are run out of New York versus football out of Paris? I think MLB and NBA are 100% run out of New York, and football is 100% out of Paris. What was I just about to say? So somebody very early in the chat was saying how when we were talking about the announcements come and everybody gets outraged, the last one that got people pretty outraged and we all just deal with it now is Lister Play, which apparently
I don't think people deal with it. I think that people have come around on it and people have showed their love and support for Lister Play.
Not me. Absolutely still hate it. But it is something that just like,
it's just the way that it is now.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think these fitness boosts are going to be the same. Like, I don't know, somebody earlier was like, what are the chances they just don't do this because of the outcry was so negative? Like,
I've seen this community go negative on something.
Right.
This wasn't even that bad.
It really wasn't.
Game.
Yeah, I will say that I don't think Dan said this, but people seem to think he did. So maybe he did and I just forget. He was like the community reaction like wasn't that bad, or it was like okay. I was like, I'm just not sure it was okay.
And then he started reading the chat and and like you said, it was like he was reading mean tweets about himself.
Yeah. I want to believe that he saw those before and was like, I'm just going to play into it. I really want to believe that because I don't want our shows to be a place where people have to deal with that shit. But anyway, I love this coming from Surface. If fitness somehow ends up propping up the market a bit, like Lister Play, people won't be as sour on it. You're totally right. Like that was the best thing about Lister Play is everyone was like, prices are not going down. And we're like, they're not going down because nobody's selling. They're like, but not going down. It's fine.
Yeah. My gallery value went up. Well, just the floor price of all of our cards went up, but there's no actual sales.
Right. Yeah. Right. My card's worth more. Well, not quite. I don't know. Arsenal dude, I apologize for the swearing. I just got a little fired up today. Sorry, still looking at the chat. I don't know. I think
Hamilton said you shouldn't be taxed for having good players. Yes, you should tax them.
It was kind of like the original idea of not having to constantly be up against, like, isn't it kind of like a leveler of like making the top cards?
It's like the luxury tax that MLB teams have to pay.
Yeah.
XMK, can we talk about the late inclusion of qualifiers? Yeah, total bullshit. Here's my stance on it. Well, I already tweeted my stance. If you're gonna include them, you need to provide some sort of like heads up that, hey, we might be able to provide coverage for these games. Whatever. We never got that. I don't even have any of the players. I really don't care, but I know people that did, and you would have had to wake up, like in the States, you would have had to wake up at 3 a.m. to get the notification from Sorare on Twitter to know that they were including the games. You wouldn't even get, like, even if you were just like going about your day, you wouldn't know that they were including them unless you got on Twitter and doom scrolled until you found Zora's tweet.
Why is it doom scroll?
It was just a bad, like all of it was handled bad.
So Germ actually brought up an even worse part of it, and Nep was tweeting about it today, but they had matches that showed as low coverage.
Yeah. And now they're no games.
But like, I think that's just a user problem, not a user, like a UX problem, UX, UI, that maybe it's, I don't know. It's Sorare's fault. Like, I'm actually blaming Sorare for this one, that we know that if a game, we know ahead of time that if a game doesn't have level 13 Opta coverage, like, it shouldn't be scored. And instead of removing that from the list, they left it there and were like, this has low coverage. And usually low coverage means you get scores for decisives. The problem is the only time we get low coverage decisive scores are when we think ahead of time that we have full coverage and then something happens and we don't. Yeah. And okay, Clement's telling me it's really both UI and UX. So the problem with this one is that we knew ahead of time that we were not going to get full coverage. So it should not have counted. And they have low coverage, and then people put in their lineups, and then it goes to no game because they don't have coverage, and people get all pissed off about it. Like that is 100% on them. What is actually firing me up even more is that it looks like they are counting the scores for L15 calculations. And I don't know if that's the case because the game week's not over, so we don't know. But like, if a player started, they're like counting the low coverage. And it's like, if you're going to count that for the L15, at least give the people the decisives for the week. Yeah. And that was bad. Apparently Zora's on it though. I saw a tweet that said we're on it. So it'll be fixed. Don't worry.
Zora did say to make sure to follow him for extra info this year. That's our communication strategy. Follow Zora on Twitter.
You can't do that. You cannot do that.
Like, I don't know what the technical challenge of I do know what the technical challenge of a email blast is to all of your customers. I don't think people would care if they got a message about coverage in a league, like in their inbox. I get a bunch of emails that I don't want. I don't know why that's not something that you can subscribe to or something.
Yeah. So I think it's partially Sorare at being at the mercy of Opta. And there are situations where like Opta may not know they have coverage.
Yeah, but tell us that. Yeah, sure. But also, like, maybe the rule just needs to be whatever coverage we have in place at the beginning of the game week is what we have. But adding things and removing things throughout the game week,
I don't think they did that. I think everything that's covered was before the game week deadline.
Right. Agreed. That's, okay. I guess I worded that wrong.
Well, I'm just saying there's some people who think it was after and they're getting really pissed. And like, technically it was before.
Right. But it was 2 hours before when half the world was sleeping.
It was literally like 10 minutes before. Like, it was 2 hours would have been fine.
You woke up to add Tadich, right?
I got Tadich, and then I put in Robert Lubicic literally at 3 minutes before the deadline, because 10 minutes before the deadline, Zagreb got added.
So did you set an alarm?
I did.
Did you wake the whole family up? A nice little discreet alarm, just the watch vibration, or how did you pull that off?
My wife was already awake, and my alarm clock's not that. My phone alarm is not that loud.
Oh.
I don't know. I just woke up.
Your wife wakes up at 3 a.m.?
No. It was so the deadline's 6 a.m. for me. So it was like 5:20. I woke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know when the deadline is right now. I thought it was 3 a.m. my time, but I guess it's not.
All of this is like a moot point if the deadline was back to where it was, like the old new deadline, and the fact that it was like moved up for a region that didn't play this game week.
Right.
It's kind of like,
it's kind of funny. I saw lots of people though with players that they did not get, like, they didn't get their guys in, and it's not great.
It's a really, really poor experience.
I get wanting like full utility from your guys, more utility, better, yes, but also at some point, if it's about equity as well, like if you can't make sure that everyone is communicated with and everyone knows that the card is going to have utility that week, then maybe you don't add the utility. But now we're at a point where, like, if you're ever curious, if you're ever not sure, now you just have to set an alarm. That's just like, that is the new normal for people that have a player in these qualifiers that they're not sure. Set an alarm for 20 minutes before the deadline and then get on Twitter and see what Zara says.
Service said, I think most people will agree what happened this week was a one-off, was pretty unfortunate, and never can happen again or become normalized. There's no way this never happens again. Like these Conference League qualifiers where we have no idea where these games are and Opta has no idea that they are getting covered will absolutely happen again. It'll happen with internationals where they some two random teams and we're just like, yeah, that won't have coverage, and then it has it or doesn't. It's just that it is definitely happening again. John Andrews said, my fitness bonus keeps going down, losing sleep on Tuesday and Friday mornings for the deadline. Yeah, there you go.
But Ben said that he submitted his Zagreb stack and was shocked it scored. Like, that's great. But what, like, and you should definitely do that, but it's when you have like one player from that stack, and now how do you prioritize that one player if you're not sure that it's covered? Like, a good Tadic is the perfect example. Like, how high of priority did you put him in a lineup? I guess you were certain at that point, so you knew that he was going to be covered. But if you submitted that lineup at 10 p.m. the night before, do you put him in the same lineup? Hell no.
No. I was going to play my Midland stack because they played midweek and they were on the low coverage. I don't even know if they were on the low coverage or no coverage. But there was a point in me where I was like, maybe I just do it, because who knows? I probably should have done it, but I went for the academy training double XP instead. But yeah, we were pretty fired up today. Maybe because we care so much, Andy.
We care a lot.
We care so much. Bam! I knew we'd get there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you could please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Yeah, it's always really appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow for Off Topic, which a lot of what we talked about today, I was just going to talk to myself about. So God knows what I'll talk about tomorrow. But we'll be there. I think it was 11 a.m. Eastern for tomorrow, which I believe is 4 o'clock in the UK and 5 o'clock in Central Europe. So yeah, check that out. Andy, I think we just care too much. We do. We just have to accept it.
We care a lot.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who also cares and is here after 69 minutes, and we'll sign off. See ya.